views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hey, everybody, I'm Dr. Pat, and I told you we were going to have a great lineup for you today. You know, my uncles used to teach me how to box. When I was 5, I got boxing gloves, like the real deal, like the real leather ones. And my uncle used to say to me, Pat, you got to have that 1-2 punch in life. I didn't know that that would become a metaphor. You know, I'd like to be, approaching life in a kinder, gentler way. But I think the point that my uncle was making, make sure that you have enough of that 1-2-ness in you to really bring the message home. That's why this hour is part of that equation, healing the emotional body with my friend and colleague, host of an incredible show, Audrey Michel. Listen, today we are going to look at what happens in us, that emotional body that literally is a showstopper. We just stop. And she and I were kind of talking about this a little bit. I don't know if we'll kind of share our little stories. But for those of you that know Audrey, her journey began healing and wellness, like so many of us, in her blog, Rewired Life. Now, here's the deal. I did not have the common sense or the wherewithal to share my story the way she did. Now, she's one of the most sought after people to help all of us discover what a rewired life looks like and why a journey to untangle chronic pain is something that many of us want to know how to do. Whether you're sitting and you have so much pain, whether it's in your heart, whether it's in your bones, whether it's in your body, or if you feel this heaviness, not necessarily positivity, maybe you feel like you're stalling, maybe you feel like you're less than well, uninspired. She is here on a mission to help women understand that if you learn how to call to action empowerment, you will hear. You're going to heal. Whether you know about her honesty, her emotion, her empowerment, or her ability for feistiness and fashion, she is the real deal, and that's what we're here to do. Now, I'm just saying, I told you in the last hour, these phone lines are going to stay open, 1-800-930-2819, and later on in the show, we're going to give a signed copy, by the way, of Audrey's book, Rewired Life, and she'll tell you about it in a minute. Audrey, it's great to have you here. Welcome to today's show, and this is a hot topic.
Thank you, Dr. Pat. Always fun to listen to your introduction. You feel just like, oh man, I am doing all that stuff. It's so fun.
Yeah, I forgot to mention you're an author, speaker, and a spiritual growth coach right there. Just want to say that.
Yes.
Okay, let's start out with the book. Let's start out with your book for a minute, because I didn't give it a true introduction. The name of your radio show is also called Rewired Life, but so is the book. Mm-hmm. And I want to touch upon what you shared in that blog and in your journey that really does call for an expose on the emotional body today.
Yeah, Rewired Life is all about my journey to love myself, heal my body and mind, and celebrate life. So, my healing journey, my story started when I was 14. I was diagnosed with endometriosis, and I did all the things you're supposed to do, the surgeries, the hormone treatments, the, pain pills, muscle relaxers, the whole spiel that, you go to the doctor and they run the script on, you have endometriosis, here's what you do. And I did that. And then somehow 17 years just kind of ticked away. And I woke up, I had gone to college, done all the things, married, got the career, and I woke up and I'm like, I am not okay. Like, I do not feel good. And I'm really tired of doing all the things, right? At this point, almost 2 decades later, I had done all of the things many times over, all the surgeries, all the pills, all the things. And it was time for something new. And it's like Einstein says, you doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. Right. And I was living it. And, I talk about it in my book. I had a big break. You hit rock bottom, and you have to do something else. And I started learning about my emotional body. I headed in this alternative direction. I started learning about my emotional body, and I started learning how we carry these emotions, these negative emotions in our body. And I started learning how separation from yourself is the definition of illness. And I started to wonder, and I could feel it. I could feel the separation from self, right? I knew that I had this life over here of, being in a career and being married and like that was part of my life, but I was also in a lot of pain, and I kind of compartmentalized it. It was just like, yeah, I have this thing. It's over here. I hate it. I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to go over here and live this like, picture perfect life of what you're supposed to be up to. And so it was like these two things. And the day I just like broke down and lost it, I was just like realized all of a sudden that being me, understanding me and understanding is what I'm feeling a side effect, essentially, right? I'm on like a dozen pills at that point. Is what I'm feeling me, or is it something else? And it became very evident that I needed to let go of all the pills and all of this stuff and just figure out what was me. And so my journey to rewire my life was all about rejoining, right? If separation is joining is healing. And so that was my journey. And now that is the journey that I teach in my coaching. And, we talk about it on my radio show. So that is the conversation that I am in on a daily, is how to get back to yourself and heal.
Yeah. This is why today's show is so important. And I'm so glad that you were willing to bring this conversation to the forefront. When I say the word emotional body, if you'd have asked me 14 years ago if I had any inclination about what that meant or what it would come to mean for me in my own life, I don't know if I would have been able to even relate to the question. But it is so important, so impactful now that we not only understand it, but we understand how it literally governs our life. And this is what you talk about in your book. So can you tell us how this emotional body relates to the earth skin we have on?
Right. Yeah. So first of all, the emotional body holds all of our emotions, feelings, desires, those sort of things, the emotions, right? But I see it as a virtual copy of our physical body. So we have this like second layer of a body on our physical body called the emotional body. And, in my own healing, again, if you know my story, in 2008, I went in for my 4th surgery to remove the endometriosis cells that were living outside my uterus, because that's what I was used to doing. For me, it was like, oh, the pain has gotten to the place where I can't take it anymore. I go in for surgery. They take the sticky cells out of me, and I'm good for a couple years. That's how it was for me. And I go in, and the doctor says, well, we didn't see any visible signs of endometriosis. And so I headed down this path of like, well, if the physical disease isn't presenting, then where is the pain coming from? And so this is where I started to uncover this emotional body thing and having to heal all of this. So for me, and it shows up differently for everybody, but for me, I have discovered, take my stresses and wad them up in a ball and shove them in my uterus.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel it. And so for so many years, I did this unknowingly. And I would have told you, I had made this like superhighway of pain equals endometriosis pain. And so in my healing, we had to go in and break up this superhighway of pain equals endometriosis pain, and starting to learn like maybe not all of it is endometriosis pain. What if some of it is me wadding up my stress and shoving it in my uterus? What does that look like? And how do you let that go? So for me, I feel my emotions in my abdomen, in this little place I like to call sticky rib. This rib on my left side will be the first thing that will tell me that things are off.
Wow.
And so that's my little indicator from my emotional body being like, things ain't quite right. And to be honest, I woke up this morning and sticky rib was just like throbbing.
Wow.
And yeah, so I get to start asking what's going on. And really, I spent this whole morning meditating, mostly because I was so dang nervous. I get so nervous to be interviewed, but interviewing, right? Being the interviewer is like, that's becoming very fun. But being on the other side makes me so nervous. So sticky rib was just like, I'm real mad. So now I have tools, and I teach tools of, if your emotional body is like throbbing and yelling at you, what can you do to start to release that stuckness and move past it?
Yeah. I love that we're talking about this because, when I was asked to go back and look at my life, and also in reading your book, I had signs early on that things were just not right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I don't mean with all of, I didn't break any bones or anything like that, the obvious. But, things that I could point to now, just like you just did, that when they show up today, there are different questions to ask. Mm-hmm. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'm so thrilled to have Audrey Michel joining us here today. Once you discover this, once you feel your emotional body, okay, now what? Well, that's what we're going to talk about when we come back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Transformation Talk Radio is dedicated to the education and awareness of Lyme disease.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Lyme Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Pat, joined here by
Dr. Nusheen Darvish.
Dr. Pat Basili and Dr. Nusheen Darvish will be bringing the most innovative, groundbreaking information, research, treatment innovations, and stories from those it affects every day.
I'm so excited to be talking about this.
We have so much to share.
Dr. Darvish and I are planning to do is connect the dots.
People suffering with all sorts of chronic diseases, it's time. It is time for them to transform.
Tune into Lyme Talk Radio and help keep our mission strong.
For the loyal listeners out there that have been listening to this incredible show on Lyme disease, we are not going to let you down. We're going to come through stronger and enrich the platform for Lyme disease awareness through Lyme Talk Radio. The message will continue, the conversations will become stronger, and the healing epic.
Are you ready to start winning at the game of life? Lynn Brown, host of Get Into It, Winning at the Game of Life, is here to help you reach places and goals that you never thought possible. Lynn is an intuitive healer with a specialized background in financial healing. She combines her intuitive nature and her wholesome approach to financial planning. To learn more about her financial planning services, contact her personally at intuit.com.
Introducing the Lucid Planet, a digital gathering place featuring cutting-edge, high-vibrational content that will empower and inspire you to become the greatest version of yourself. Visit the Lucid Planet today to stimulate your mind, body, and soul as you connect with a global community of like-minded people. The Lucid Planet is edited by renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly Neff, who is here to help you cope with anxiety, connect to your higher purpose, uncover your true passions, and live your dreams. Dr. Kelly's fresh, compassionate perspective emphasizes growth, transformation, healing, and thriving, even in the face of adversity. Say goodbye to bad news and low vibrational media for good and become part of the larger collective of people working together to navigate the global shift of consciousness and transform the world from within. Join the planet, the Lucid Planet. Visit thelucidplanet.com. Welcome home.
Tune in to the Psychic Professor's Show, The Voices of Spirit Radio, with international medium and spirit artist Dr. Susan Barnes on Transformation Talk Radio, featuring a variety of spiritual topics such as psychic art, spiritualism, EVP, psychic development, and mediumship. This hit call-in show provides listeners with breakthrough wisdom to enliven and enlighten their lives. Visit spiritartgallery.net for show days and times.
Hey everybody, it's so great to have you back. Audrey Michel is in the house. Now listen, before we jump and talk about emotional baggage, do you all have any of that going on? Could you use a little help today? 1-800-930-2819, 1-800-930-2819. And if you call in with a question, we're going to give you an autographed copy of the book. Audrey, before we kind of jump ahead and talk about this, what's the best way for people to find out more about you, and also let them know about your show, when your show is and what's going to be happening next?
Sure. So the best way to get a hold of me is to go to my website. It's audreymichel.com, and Michelle is spelled M-I-C-H-E-L, so audreymichel.com. Mm-hmm. And then Rewired Life Radio is on Wednesdays at noon Pacific. So if you go to rewiredliferadio.com, or of course you can go to Transformation Talk Radio as well. So
yeah. And by the way, Audrey's show comes on right before Lyme Talk Radio. And a couple of you mentioned that to me on the show last week. So listen, emotional baggage. I have a new appreciation for it today. I really do. I too had to get really, really sick to get pointed into a direction where I could figure out more about what was going on. Let's talk about, what is it, Audrey? What is it? What is emotional baggage? And how do they get stuck?
Right. So every experience that we have in life goes through our emotional body. And the thing is, if we have the tools to understand especially negative experiences, those experiences can pass right through us. But if we don't have the tools, they get stuck. So, and it can be small things, right? Like, I'm trying to think of a recent experience for me, but like going and getting coffee and another person is just like super cranky and they get their crankiness all over you, like that can get stuck in your emotional body. Or it can be bigger experiences like having a fight with your spouse, your sister, your parents, your friend. Those sort of things can get stuck in your emotional body too. So if you, again, don't have the tools to work through them and let it pass through every cell in your body, it gets stuck. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so like I said in the last segment, each one of us puts it someplace different. And it tends to be over our life. We tend to put it in the same place. And sometimes we don't notice, especially if we're not tuned in. And then the longer it gets stuck, it just kind of festers, right? Like any sort of physical body ailment. I like to say it's kind of like a cut, right? Our physical body gets cut and our emotional body gets cut as well. And on our physical body, if we continue to pick at that scab, it just gets nasty and infected and turns into a scar. And the same thing happens in our emotional body. If we don't heal it properly, it just keeps getting picked at. Like if you can think about, let's see, on my show a couple weeks ago, we talked about the workplace, right? It tends, drama in the workplace. And if you have somebody that you work with that like irritates you, if you think about when it started, it was like a little bit irritating. And then, a year down the road, it's like you can barely be in the same room as this person. That is your emotional body not dealing with the issue right away. And so each time you see this person, it's like you're picking the scab because you haven't dealt with for yourself what's going on. Never mind the other person, for yourself, what's going on, to go through and release these stuck emotions. So that's the key, is to understand for yourself how it feels. And it starts by being curious, just being curious about your body.
Yeah. It's really interesting as I'm thinking about this. And, I'm thinking about things that happen that sometimes, Audrey, right? We think, oh, that's just a little, hiccup in my knee, or, oh, that's a little aching I got in my shoulder. And, we blow it by until all of a sudden we wake up one day and I got the ache in the knee. I got the shoulder that's killing me. I have constant headaches. Maybe there's something else going on, a cramp in my foot. And it's like, now what? And so we can literally get at what's underneath all of this. And isn't that what you do to help people really decode this?
Yeah. So you can think about your body as a message board for your emotions and your psyche. So you're right, like any hiccup in your knee can tell you what's going on, where things are stuck. So let's see, a recent example for myself. We had gone and driven back home, and it's an 8-hour drive to our hometown. And so you're stuck in the car, and I had been sitting cross-legged, and I got out, and like my knee, like you said, had a bit of a hiccup. And at first I was just like, oh, it's because I've been sitting so long cross-legged. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But it just kind of kept going and pinging me, right? Just every once in a while, just be like, zing. And so I had a choice, right? I could blow it off as I sat too long, and I sat, incorrectly with not my feet on the floor. Or I could look at it like, I wonder what my body's trying to tell me. And so the first thing I do is be like, is it on my left side or my right side? And if it's on the left side of my body, that's the feminine side of our body, feminine energy. Again, my guest a couple weeks ago, Dr. Nadine, and I were talking about feminine and masculine energy. And so the first thing I look at is on the left side of my body. That's my feminine side. And I start to look at feminine energy is all about receiving. Like, am I receiving well? Am I being in my creative flow? Am I stuck somewhere in my creative flow? And I have to tell you, what I did the whole way home was work on my radio show. Like, I literally stared at my computer and was like working. And I was stuck, to be honest, in designing one of my shows. And so I just sat for a moment and was just like, wow, I'm stuck in my creative energy.
Yeah.
And so, I had a choice. Was my knee hurting because I sat improperly, or was my knee hurting because I was stuck in my creative process and I needed to honor that for myself?
Yeah.
Like, either give myself the time to get in the flow or look at it from a different angle. And I have to tell you, my knee does not hurt.
Wow.
After being able to work through that, it literally went away. So
yeah. Well, this is it. It's really, really powerful, but it's also really, really practical at some level, because we all know when we've either got a little ping, what did you say? A ping in our knee, Yeah. I had one this morning, and I had a ping in the back of my knee. And, I know I've got a little something back there, but why today? Right? Why today? It's not something that I wake up every day and I'm like, oh, that's really sore. But why today? And I think what you're asking is for us to learn or stop and ask ourselves those questions. Isn't this the work that you do to help people really get at some of the core things that are going on?
Exactly. Yeah. And so I was going to add, so it's on my left side, which was feminine energy. And then your knee is all about moving forward, right? It allows us to move forward in our life. So I'm a big fan of Louise Hay, so right, the pioneer of how our thoughts manifest in our body. So moving forward in my radio show and being able to express myself creatively was what my body was trying to communicate to me. And so it was a very short-lived little ping. So I was able to work through it. So instead of, another idea, I thought it was just my physical body, I could have, taken some Advil or whatever to make the pain go away, right? That's what I used to do is take a pain pill to make the pain go away and just kind of numb. And then it grew into a big thing. So that there is the benefit of releasing your stuck emotions, being able to identify what's going on for you in your emotions and in your psyche and work through it, and then heal what's going on. And it never manifests as like a big physical thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes we don't even have to take a pill. There are so many other ways now that in our society, we have literally at our fingertips ways to numb ourselves, whether it's sitting down and eating an entire cake or just absolutely refusing to not watch television or something else. I mean, there's so many ways right now that people have access, and literally, Audrey, at the touch of a smartphone.
Yeah.
A million ways.
Scrolling your feed. Just numbing out, scrolling your feeds.
Exactly. We're going to take a short break. We come back. We've got a copy of the book to give away, as well as, here it is, what about our inner child? How can that inner child, and how has it taken over and ruled our adult life, like a lot of years of it? That's what we're going to talk about when we come back with Audrey Michel joining me here today, as well as a fabulous autographed copy of her book. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
You got me sipping on something I can't compare to nothing I've ever known. I'm hoping that after this
Gain powerful insight and practical tools to support you on your spiritual journey. Access your higher self and tune in every second and fourth Thursday at 12 p.m. Pacific to A Life Untethered with Andrew Martin, Walking the Path of Freedom. Andrew is a highly attuned, intuitive oracle, energy worker, spiritual teacher, and international radio host. For more about Andrew and his services, visit thelightedones.com.
Wow. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By. I'm telling you, I got to pinch myself some days, because when each of us gets called to do something that we so not thought was in our wheelhouse to do for a purpose that's so much greater than us, we get to show up and shine.
If you would like to show up and shine on the Dr. Pat Show as a co-host or sponsor, send us an email to inspire@thedrpatshow.com.
Brand consultant Jen Morgan is here with Radically Distinct Radio to help you take control of your future and maximize your brand's power to produce results. Whether you're an individual trying to reinvent yourself and launch a new venture, or you're an executive trying to reposition your company to modernize your sales and marketing programs, Jen Morgan and the RAD Method empower you to play to your strengths and show up in the world as your most powerful brand. To learn more, go to jenmorgan.com, that's Jen with 2 N's, Morgan.com, or call 206-972-5366.
The Earth is an ever-changing being. Goddess Light Shamanic Healer Bree Gibbs guides us through the ascending worlds, bringing forth knowledge and truth. As a light creator, she is here to provide new information needed at this time in our evolution. Join Bree as she shares messages from guides, spirits, ascended masters, goddesses, and others. Tune in the second and fourth Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific, and Thursdays, 1 p.m. Pacific for Silver Gaia Radio.
Have you felt a lot of fear and self-doubt in your life where you feel like you never know what's right for you? As a result, maybe you've made yourself invisible or haven't fully put yourself out there. Hi, my name is Deb Acker. In addition to being the host of Truth Talk Radio, I'm an intuitive life coach and energy healer. I clear energy blocks to all areas of life, including stepping into your power to be confident and visible in your relationships and the world. Did you know fear, self-doubt, feeling invisible, and not feeling comfortable to put yourself out there are all linked to not being in your power? What if you could always feel powerful and on purpose at all times? I used to spend a lot of time hiding in fear and self-doubt. Now I'm not afraid to put myself out there on a bigger scale, and most importantly, I know what's right for me in every moment, and I take action accordingly. On the other side, I now help others with this, and if you're ready to be powerful and confident and let go of the fear that holds you back from a bigger life, I'd love to gift you with my pattern identification session. Simply contact me on the contact page of my website, DeborahAcker.com. That's DeborahAcker.com. And let me know you heard about this gift through Transformation Talk Radio. I look forward to connecting soon.
I know I'm acting a bit crazy, strung out a little bit hazy, hand over heart, I'm praying that I'm gonna make it out alive. The bed's getting cold and you're not here. The future that we hold is so unclear.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Audrey Michel joining us here today. I want to make sure you all know Rewired Life Radio is on Wednesdays at noon Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. So go ahead and check it out. As well as if you go to Audrey's website, which is Audrey Michel, and it's michel.com. You can find out more about her Facebook, My Rewired Life, and so forth and so on. So there's lots of information about her work. You can get a copy of her book pretty much anywhere. And then also there are opportunities to work with her directly, like so many others do. Today we're talking about healing the emotional body. Now, what I'd like to do is open up the phone lines and give an autographed copy of her book away to the first caller that calls in and just give any of your information, 1-800-930-2819. And if you're not able to call in, but you send us an instant message, you can go to Transformation Talk Radio and just type in your information there. That would be great. First person that does that, we'll send you an autographed copy of the book. Audrey, thank you for today. I mean, this one is a really tough one. Looking at our inner child. First of all, even recognizing that we actually have one. And then secondly, figuring out that our inner child is actually running the show. How did you discover that for yourself? How does our inner child, how does our inner child actually show up?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. How did I learn about it? I actually went to a workshop with a amazing institute in Boulder called Higher Alignment. And the work that Larry Byram has done is all about how our personality builds. And it starts with being a child and then moves into, our early adulthood and then later adulthood of how our personality builds. And his work is about how we're either seen or not seen for who we are as a small child. And what wounds that creates for us and how we decide forward, essentially, how we're going to act, right? And it's really about were we supported as a child in the way that was our true self. Mm-hmm. So if you think about if you were a client of mine, very much hurt by being, she was just a very loud, boisterous child. She had a lot to say and she wouldn't tell you about it, right?
Yeah.
And so as a parent, I could imagine that for myself, if I were a parent, to just be like, could you be quiet? Could you just be for 2 minutes? Can you just be quiet? Right? She heard that a lot in her life.
Yeah.
And she decided as a child, her subconscious decided that it was not safe for her to be this loud and, kind of on stage person. that she was not supported in that way. She was more so like, you just need to be quiet. And she decided that it's not safe for me to be who I'm really supposed to be. So now she has decided forward into her adult life that she should keep quiet. And so she has just squished herself and can't understand why. In the business world, she's a leader in the business world, and why she feels so tired after conferences or meetings where she's called upon as a leader to answer questions. And yes, she'll answer them, but she doesn't answer them fully. She doesn't take the space that she knows she could fill with her knowledge. She holds back and she walks away tired. So the work that her and I did was, why am I so tired? Why am I so exhausted by doing what I know I'm supposed to do? And so we started peeling back layers and realized as a child, she was continually told to be quiet. So that's what she does. She shrinks. And as we worked through and built in some new ways of being and some new wiring for her to show up as, yes, respectful, like not always like, walking out with her peacock feathers, like, look at me. But when there's a time and place for her to shine, to be able to shine fully. And it's been really instrumental for her to show up and to shine as her true self and share the gifts that she's supposed to share in the world.
Yeah. I think that right there example you just shared, I think it is at the core of many, many, many women that I talk with and those that call into the show. I hear in a number of different ways how that's true, how the notion of squashing our ideas, our gifts, our talents, of settling for less than we truly could become is literally heartbreaking for people. Well, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Do you ever feel as if you're working twice as hard but only getting half as far? Are you trying to connect with your path in life and finding it elusive? Mainstream Metaphysics Radio is a weekly call-in show where we harness our connection with the universe and use what is in our power to affect change for optimal success and happiness. This hit show bridges the divide between what is and what we do not know. Eve, named one of the country's top psychics, also known as the MBA Psychic, invites you on this journey for this live call-in show with readings, featured guests, leaders, and visionaries in both business and spiritual callings. So join Eve Thursdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com as she takes metaphysics mainstream. For more information about Eve, visit EliteTarot.com. That's EliteTarot.com.
Disease, one of the most dreaded words in our vocabulary. Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. Did you know traditionally we have viewed disease as a degenerative process? Disease is better understood when we view it as dis-ease in the human body. Dis-ease means without ease. Health is not merely the absence of disease, it's when every part of the body works together effortlessly, relaxed and at ease. It's that relaxed state that lets energy flow in waves through and around the entire body. Every organ has an electrical charge, and when overcharged or undercharged, dis-ease occurs. And it is an effort to go through our day. We are able to determine the exact dis-ease of the body and design a specific solution to correct the nutritional imbalance. Contact us at 888-777-4232. That's 888-777-4232. And visit us at maryjanemack.com.
Thrive is what we experience when our mind, body, and soul operate as one. When we thrive, we excel on all levels. Thrive is the mindset that matters. It is essential to our being. Have you ever found yourself looking for the instruction manual on how to thrive? You'll find everything you need to help you feel strong, powerful, and peaceful in your own body. So don't waste any more time. Visit thrivebyjen.com today.
Are you feeling stagnant or blocked in your love life, career, health, or finances? Experiencing difficulty focusing or setting and achieving goals? Tune in to Spiritual Diagnostics Radio with psychic visionary healers Carol Dorian and Justice Welling. Discover the cause and effect of unwanted patterns in life. Tune in every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit spiritualdeed.com.
Aren't you something to admire? 'Cause you shine at something like a mirror, and I can't help but notice.
Wow. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. See, that's what happens when we take these stuck emotions and we bust them like that. And here's what happens. We create such an energetic movement of things. And I know this to be true because I've experienced myself. The thing that I want to leave everybody with, and what Audrey does so well is that even if you're absolutely stuck, you don't even know where to start, please give her a call. Because starting sometimes is the hardest place. Before we talk about illness and separation, how can people contact you directly? What's the best way to do that?
The best way is to go to my website. It's audreymichel.com. Again, Michelle is spelled Michel. And there's all kinds of information about what I'm up to and contact. And so that's the best place to go, audreymichel.com.
Thank you. So we were talking about the inner child, but we were also talking about this idea of healing the emotional body, why it's so important to really look at the physical aspects of this. And this is the work you do with others. But here is the notion now of illness. And I'm telling you, the rise in chronic illness is staggering the numbers. So talk about what it is and how does it separate us from our true selves? How does that even happen?
Exactly. I get this question a lot. Like how 17 years? How did you have that for 17 years? Mm-hmm. And, it's one small decision at a time, quite honestly. One small decision at a time. And, yes, I had a high amount of pain and pain with my periods and everything that comes along with endometriosis. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about my separation from myself. And for me, it did show up as a choice to continue to take drugs, to take prescribed pain pills and muscle relaxers and hormones and, mood stabilizers and the whole spiel. But it was one choice at a time. And I, at the time, had made it a priority, my short-term need to make pain go away, right? I would have told you at the time that my pain levels were fairly consistently an 8 to a 10, anywhere from 7, 8, 9 would be my daily pain level. And so taking pain meds is what I was prescribed. And so I thought I was doing the right thing, right? You go to the doctor, you do what they say, you're doing the right thing. And I slowly let those decisions be up to somebody else, be up to the medical system. And somewhere along the line, I just took myself out of it, right?
Yeah.
I would go to the doctor and just do what they say and not think like, wait a minute, is this what's right for me? And like I said, it was a short-term need, right? A short-term need to just make the pain go away. I have better things to do with my life. I'm a teenager. I'm in high school. I'm in college. I just got married. I have a career. I need to go to work. I just need the pain to just go away. Just don't bother me with these problems. I just want to do the other things. And so, like I said, it was one decision at a time. And for me, it showed up as pain pills. But if we use the woman I was talking about in the last segment, it was, I'll just be quiet.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
safer for me to be quiet.
Yeah.
It's safer for me to fit in than for me to be me. And so it's these seemingly little things And somewhere along the line, it gets away from us and the separation begins. And then one day you look up and you're just like, what is happening? What is this? And so that's where my reconnection to true self began. As like I said, I just, like the universe whacked me on the back of the head like it does now many times in my life. And it's just like, what are you doing? And I'm just looking up like, I don't know. And so for me to get off the pain pills, it was all of a sudden a decision that was, you know what? Even with these dang pills, like these dozens of pills that I take a day that are supposed to be giving me quality of life, mind you, what I had was not some life-threatening disease for me. It was giving me quality of life. And I just all of a sudden was just like, but my quality of life sucks. Like it couldn't suck anymore. Like I don't even get out of bed 2 weeks out of the month. I didn't get out of bed the week that I was menstruating or the week that I was ovulating. So that's 2 weeks out of the month that I don't get out of bed. And so these things that I'm taking are supposed to be making my quality of life better. And so all of a sudden I was just like, I'm done, man. I'm out. Like this is supposed to be making me better and I'm not better. And I don't know if I am, a cranky, I can't even describe how cranky I was. Such an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
Like, is that me? Is that truly me? Like, am I this up and down person, or is it a pill? I don't know anymore. I don't know. And all of a sudden my priorities shifted and I was like, if I'm in pain of 10 anyway, if my pain level is 10 with all of this stuff, then who cares? I'm done. I'm going to have a pain level of 10 regardless. And so I'm going to stop taking these things that makes it so I don't even know who I am anymore. And so that was the decision that I made.
What a gift, though, to be able to have the wherewithal to realize that you did not have to throw the towel in and surrender to misery for the rest of your lives. And I think that's what's so important about this, because more than saving lives, it's really creating the amazing juiciness that we can do. And I think that's really one of the messages today. We don't have to stay in our emotional bodies.
Yeah. In the pain and stuckness. So for me, my emotional pain was showing up as essentially my inner wisdom was just like, I have been telling you this for I'm so mad at you. Like if you just think of that rage of like a 2-year-old just throwing a temper tantrum, like so angry, and you can't even like reason with them, right? Because they're so far gone, right? That is what my emotional body was doing to me at the time. It was just like so angry and so mad and so just like out of control, that I just like laid down and was just like, I don't get it anymore. I don't get it. And in my ability to surrender to that and just be like, I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
It was all of a sudden my mind got quiet enough for my inner wisdom to like raise its little hand and be like, hey, like maybe there's another way. And for the first time I actually listened. Like usually I just, I had inklings before that like maybe all of these pills were bad for me, but I was just like, but what else am I supposed to do? So I was just like, shut up, inner wisdom. You can just go back to where you came from. And finally my mind got quiet enough that my inner wisdom won, and I just cleaned the slate and started over.
Yeah. Do you remember a point in time in your journey, anger? Do you remember anger?
Oh.
How anger showed up? Yeah.
Like hate.
Yeah. Like at everybody and everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Or husband. Wee.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to laugh. I'm not meaning to laugh right there, but you understand that
those closest to us really do get the worst of it.
That's what I was just going to say. I mean, there's no holding back when it comes to the people that are close to us. I mean, it's honestly, we don't do it to our animal friends, right? But anybody that's close enough where we feel safe enough, that's where we really find, the sanity to unload. And sometimes it helps and sometimes it doesn't. But I love that quiet point, that quiet point that you got to. What is it about being quiet, that point, that helped you start to rewire?
Honestly, like I said, it was my mind finally shut up. It was like I couldn't logically think my way through this anymore. I always say, like, if my spiritual awakening, this like ugly, it was like the ugliest day, like ugly crying, snot coming out of my nose, like ugly day, when you romanticize and think about like spiritual awakening, right? It's like this romanticized thing of like a beautiful awakening. No. Mine was like ugly crying, worst day of my life. And I made this huge decision to no longer take any pills and any of the pain pills. And when you sit down and logically with your brain think about this, the day I quit doing those things should have been like at the kitchen table, at the doctor's office, being like, okay, what is the plan for getting off these pills that I've been on for almost 2 decades? Like, how are we going to logically think through this? That's not how it showed up for me. It showed up for me like, I'm over it. I'm out. I quit. I don't care what anybody says. Like, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing it for me. Cold turkey. Peace out. And for me to just like shut off my mind and the shoulds, and this is how it should show up, and this is what you're supposed to do. That was where the quiet happened, is to just shut off the like expectations and the shoulds, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. One of the things, if you could look back, I know we've got a couple of minutes left. If you could look back on the journey, I love the question that we get asked. Is there anything you would have done differently? I love that question. I get asked that question a lot. Can you think about anything you would have done differently as a way to say to our listeners, yeah, if this shows up, you're going to want to do this?
That's an awesome question. At first, like when I was going through it, I would always wish it happened sooner.
Yeah.
And now that I'm through it, now that I'm on the other side, I'm like, everything happens for a reason. I was supposed to be learning something, like learning compassion or, whatever it is. But for a listener to recognize, maybe I've separated from my true self, and it's really the anxiety. I guess it showed up for me as like jitteriness, like my body really has something to say, but my mind is just like stuffing it back down. Like, nope, don't have time for this, or nope, don't have, whatever it is we make up for ourselves. That's, that we don't need to want to give ourselves what we truly need to give ourselves, but just honoring that for yourself, like
there's
your body really is smarter than your mind.
Exactly. That's what I was just going to ask you. Exactly. And, now knowing that we can educate ourselves, and then the next thing is action, because what you talked about here was action. Audrey, thank you for today. What a great show. Please give out your website again, and also remind folks of how to tune into the radio show.
Absolutely. Yes. Everything about my work is at audreymichel.com. Again, Michelle is Michel. And Rewired Life Radio is on Wednesdays at noon Pacific.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. And for those of you out there, you can reach Audrey directly, and they can reach you through your website as well, right, Audrey? Right?
Absolutely. Yes.
What a great show, everybody. I don't know if you got that emotional body thing going on today. Here's the message I want to leave you with. You can actually let go of that as well. We'll see you next time.
Preceding audio was via a Skype call.